And this reminds me of when I was in the New York street behind the substation. There was a trash can.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, they were like, no, we're going to have the stunt guy. I was like, I can knock over the trash can.
But it was after your shoulder too, right?
Was it after?
I think so. Because you were talking about how like your shoulder, because I think you've told me this, where it's like your shoulder was healing and then you went into the trash can and you were like,
well, the trash can was not aluminum. It was like steel. And I was like, but I fought to do it and I didn't check the trash can because I assumed it was, never assume anything.
They make an ass out of you and me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
I hurt myself again. But I listen, I want to do as much of the stunts as I wanted. Listen, the stuntmen are doing stuff. But in Disney, you're like, I'm going to jump on this. And they're like, no, we need someone to, and I'm like.
It's more about, I feel like, well, I mean, on every set, it's about liability, right? But I feel like on Disney, especially because you're dealing with kids, because it's minors and things like that, I feel like they're hyper vigilant about that.
I did a movie or a couple of movies called Pup Star. Mm-hmm. And we did 4 of them. And there was one time where I was talking dogs and I was up on the roof and I fell and I had to be dangling. The guy who was dangling did not look like me at all. Yeah, not that I wanted to do it, but it's important to match as much as you can.
Yeah, there's sometimes where like, I know they've had really bad bloopers with like stunts where like you'll see the face and you're like, that's a different fucking person. Like that's not even remotely the same.
Yeah, well nowadays they can just digitally put the actor's face on the person.
Yeah, I know. There was a few gags where like they either had me up on a harness or Selena and they were like, we were flying around or whatever, and they had such bad wigs and like different body types, and I mean, it was quick, get them done kind of things, and sometimes it looked like it. But
all I could think of now is the chandelier from
that damn chandelier.
The fleur.
Yeah, God, that chandelier was rough. Okay, so which she faints, wants Justin to catch her, doesn't. The cab offers Alex and Harper a free ride to school the next day. So we're at Tribeca Prep.
With the cab right in the center.
With the cab.
It's just so bizarre. That cab just was in every scene. As like
which also how hard for like the like set people to be like, well, let's get the cab in there.
They probably had like little wheels for the wheels so they could like a skateboard thing.
Yeah, and then they had to open up like the wings of the set and like, bring it in. So we're at Tribeca Prep. Harper and Alex arrive at school 2 periods late because the cab brought them. The cab flashes into school offering to take Alex to get tacos. Well, Alex is coming up with a plan to explain why there's a cab in the middle of the school with all of the other students around. Harper panics and screams, giving us our first "I'll see you in PE" right down the barrel, breaking the fourth wall.
Going right into the camera.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yes.
How that came
to
be?
Yeah, I remember Mark. Because we broke the fourth wall a few times, but not a ton. And that was the first time I believe that I said, "I'll see you in PE," which obviously came back to be a lot of times.
I can't believe this was the first one.
I think so. I mean, the fans will correct us if it's not, but I'm pretty sure it's the first "I'll see you in PE."
Yeah.
And I remember him just being like, he's like, just book it to the, like, so here's the camera. And he was like, book it just to the left. And I was like, can I look at the camera? And he's like, maybe let's not look at the camera and then just beeline it right out like you're, leaving. So, and I just remember, I was a big believer that, do or die, you got to commit 110% with comedy. So that's what I did. And I
while watching it, I watched it a few times because it made me laugh so much.
Thank you.
But you didn't look into the camera?
I might have.
It seemed like you were looking into the camera as you were running, because I was like,
have.
oh my God, it's so funny.
I might have.
And in my mind, it's like we're breaking the fourth wall, but technically we're not, because
I'm going down the hallway.
Yeah, you're just running toward the camera. It's not you looking and interacting with it.
Yeah, I remember being excited about it because I know we didn't do that very much.
It was we called the where the cameras are the aisle, the aisle where we're in between the audience where they would sit and the sets. Yeah. That's where the cameras are. And it's very rare that you would exit toward the cameras.
Yeah, it never happened. Not never, but it didn't happen often. So I remember it was a real opportunity to like use that different angle comedically.
Right.
So hopefully I succeeded.
Almost did a spit take.
I love it.
You did. You did succeed.
Okay, so she does the "I'll see you in PE." Alex covers poorly that the cab is an art project. The cab shouts, "Art project? I'm a talking magic cab." And Alex kicks it. Alex then has no choice, as always, but to ask Justin's help. He comes in with a better cover story of the cab as part of this car donation drive to create an artificial reef habitat in the Hudson River for homeless otters, which the idea of otters being in the Hudson River, as disgusting as the Hudson River is there any life other than like bacteria in the Hudson River?
I don't know, but it's interesting. And I don't know if it's in the Hudson River, but they were talking about doing like marshland, like re-putting green stuff so that it gets revitalized.
Oh, like the habitat in the Hudson River?
Well, maybe not the Hudson River, but
saying.
I saw something recently where they were like, we're trying to make it, inhabitable again.
Yeah, because
Like
I thought it was just
that.
like New York sludge and
We don't have to listen to David DeLuise. Continue, Jen Stone.
No, I want to listen to.
No,
David
I'm not.
DeLuise.
I'm not critiquing you. It's just I'm like I don't remember where that.
We'll look
where
it
that
up.
Was.
We'll find it. So Alex tries to sneak the cab back into the Sunshine Cab Company's garage because it's just causing havoc in her life and making it very hard to hide magic when there's a magic talking cab. But the cab is anything but subtle until Justin takes out Bert's key, shutting the cab down, which I love that Justin's like, oh, again, Wizard's quick fix of like, just shut it down.
It's very science fiction too. You're like,
we
have this problem. We have this problem.
Yeah.
Oh, if you just do this, okay, everything's fine.
Yep.
Well,
it's 22 minutes. We gotta keep it popping, So then Alex and Justin think the problem's solved. We're back in the loft. We see one of the rare occasions of the Russos plus Harper at that kitchen table.
Yeah.
Do you like eating scenes? I hate eating scenes.
I do not like eating scenes.
They're gross.
It also, that table was so back in the set.
Yeah.
It was really hard
That's
to
why
get
we
the
never
cameras
used it.
on that.
Yeah.
I did a movie with Olympia Dukakis and Marion Ross. I just dropped the names. It was like a very
we need the
special,
wand back. Where's the wand?
like after school, whatever. It was very, I was a boxer.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was a homeless guy that they thought was a
turned into
boxer.
a boxer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting there doing a scene where I'm getting fed for the first time. And I'm eating this and I'm eating that and I'm doing this.
Did you have a spit bucket?
No. But it wasn't so much about the eating. It was about when I was touching things. So that was in the master, the shot where everybody's in it. And then I was doing my close-up. And the script supervisor said, on this line, you put that cup down, you did this, you took a bite here. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, you screwed yourself.
And I now it's not about acting. It's just about remembering when I drank or eat or whatever. And I think Marion Ross was like, who was the mom on Happy Days, was like, yeah, you don't touch, you don't do you just move it around a little bit and then take one bite wherever it is. Now, anybody who's listening or watching, watch movies when people are at a dinner scene. It's very rare that they'll take a bite.
Well, it's also you're trying to say lines with food in your mouth.
Well, there's that good outtake that I did where I'm taking a bite of a cookie and I'm like, when Maria and I turned into teenagers or whatever. And I couldn't get through the line because I took such a bite.
Yeah. Well, and it's also too, like, usually if it's like a dinner stuff, right, is usually hot. But it's been sitting out. It's like cold chicken, cold mashed, everything's like, so it's not appetizing.
Yeah.
It's just, So eating in scenes is not my favorite.
I'm going to tell a quick Marion Ross story. We were in Vancouver when we were shooting it, and this was back in the day.
Yeah.
And she had one of those disposable cameras. And there were some fans there, and they were like, she said, where can I develop this? And they were like, oh, we'll take it to the 1 hour photo and we'll do it.
Yeah, you told me this.
And she gave it to them and they developed it and brought it back to her. And I was like, aren't you concerned or what? And she just was like, they love me and they want to do nice things. Yeah. So it's good. They're like, and I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Although I wouldn't fucking trust anybody with my camera.
Well, not these days.
It was just so interesting to me. And she was wonderful.
Well, that's the interesting thing about,
she was so fun to work with.
Being a part of like TV is I feel like because you enter people's homes, like you have a closeness with people you've never met,
100%. I felt close to her. She's Mrs. C. Happy Days was a big influence on
You're like it's like a comfort character kind of